can also hear myself, and it's really speech jammy.
Wait, through me? Everything. Oh, because you had the stream.
Yeah, on. Stream, because I had stream on, and I was like, hang on, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Hi.
Okay.
Oh, suppose you want my camera, huh?
I mean, it's up to you. Like, it's preferred, but like, I don't force people to. Most of the time it works, but
I've been forced.
I've been forced.
Not really. I'm actually. I took a shower because I did taekwondo, and so I'm still like it's still a little. I don't know. It's not really.
Look, all right. I'm overdue for a haircut, so
help.
We'll deal with this. Help. Do you ever just like want to go get a haircut and you have the ability to, but then you are genuinely too lazy for 3 weeks to go and get a haircut? Because that's me.
That's why I started cutting my own hair. Get on my level, nerd. Or however it goes.
We're off to a great start. You're already calling me a nerd. We're nerd. Nerd. So
I'm just here to be super unprofessional.
That's fair.
Oh, sorry. That's spilling my Pocky everywhere.
It's professional MikkiMeesh.
Here, chat. You want some Pocky?
Accept it. Accept it, everybody. Let's do it.
So hi, Jordan.
MikkiMeesh, it's a pleasure.
JordanB, JB.
Eminem. We got Eminem and JB in the house tonight. Welcome to Level for Charity Chats. I'm still coming up with a motto for this. Something along the realm of a next level conversation with next level people. Something like that. That's probably trademarked, though. I feel like that's how it's going to go down. But
trademarked by you.
Trademarked by me. Thank you. This is season 2. So for those that are unaware, we are kind of cleaning up a few things. First of all, every episode effective as of this episode will then be uploaded to our YouTube channel, !YouTube, if you're interested in seeing more information on that. Share it out to your friends, to your fam, and all those other cool people if you're so well inclined to. But hey, I'm not here to pressure that. I'm here to talk to MikkiMeesh, fellow content creator, good amigo for, goodness, has it been 4 years now? 3 years? How long have we known each other at this point?
It would be max of 4 1/4.
Because I'm thinking like 2016, roughly. If you started around Rocket League around 2016, it would have been about the same time. Because that was about when I kicked into, well, like end of 2015 is when I came in. But
okay, yeah. To be fair, though, I was involved in the Rocket League community for a while. But I just remember the day I started streaming, which is because of the Rocket League community. So, right. I mean, it's all tied together. So I can't really, like, I remember that day, and it was late 2016. And I was pressured pretty much all summer long to start streaming by Rocket League people. And they were like, Meesh, you need to stream. And I'm like, I don't want to. And they were like, no, you should definitely do it. People would watch you, and people would, like, give you money. Because I was streaming piano music at the time. Yeah. So they were like,
in college like at the time too. So, any extra dollar helped a ton. I know.
Yeah, I wasn't really hurting. Yeah, I wasn't really hurting for it either. I was thankfully still at my parents' place. My mom had agreed not to kick me out until I graduated, at least. She was like, as long as you're in school, you could live here. And I was like, okay. So I said, yeah, let's, I guess I'll try to stream. I remember it was that Steve, who was like, Meesh, you should do this. Cause it's like a street performer. You're like playing music and people would like drop a quarter in the bucket or like $2 or something. And I'm like, really? And I remember my very first donation was $2, but it came from, one of my friends overseas, so it had to go through all the different, like there was a fee and then a translation fee or not, like, you had to like change the currency. And by the time I got it, I only got like $1.15. And I was like, what a ripoff.
I still remember the I kind of started in YouTube, like just because I was like, oh, hey, I like this Markiplier guy. And I think like my sophomore year of high school, I was like, I could possibly do these things because it was a big upward trend. And I thought, oh,
Right,
cool.
right.
I got 100 subscribers. Congratulations. Yeah, that's nothing. So, it was content that I never want to see surface again. I just bring it up only for incentivization for our channel at this point. But,
Oh, sure, sure.
I
Uh,
think, go ahead.
to that point, if I want,
Yeah.
if I could just hop in real quick, because you said YouTube, I did YouTube for years before I touched Twitch. I had a Twitch account. Like, you can look at my account. It started in 2013. I don't remember when I made it, but I just remember my first streamer watching. It was Lo5 and it was through Rocket League. But
Yeah.
prior to that, I had done YouTube videos, and that was my thing. I was like, I want to be not necessarily a YouTuber, but like I want to make videos, and YouTube is the place to share them, or at least the place to store them so that it's easier to show people, because I didn't have any way to share it with
Right.
anyone. And I made a lot of dumb videos, and they are still public. So I have no shame. And I also
Meanwhile, 90% of my channel on my is all private or unlisted. So
I understand that, because there definitely some where I was like, I'm not sharing this. But but I did have, I just liked making movies, and now I like looking back at them, and as awful as they are, they show me how much I've grown. And when people are like, oh, I want to do videos and I want to make this sort of stuff, and they show me their first thing, I go, hey, that's really good for your first thing. Like, that's really cool.
Right.
Granted, you have better stuff than I did at the start, but like, for our first projects, like, you're better than I was when I started. Imagine if you put the 10,000 hours that I put into
Right.
video editing and creation and things like that. Not to say that I'm an expert, but I have spent a lot of time in it.
Right. Well, on that scope, I still remember having a microphone that I borrowed from my friend Gage, who it was something that they got that was just sitting in a closet that no one had used. And if I ever talked anywhere above this level right now, it would be at like the worst peak that you could hear. So like I'd be making videos of playing Ultra Mario Rage. That was one of my first titles I remember playing. And it was just like, hey guys, it's me. It's Jay, ha ha ha. And I couldn't go above that. And I'm playing a game that was intended for Rage. And it was just, then I bought like a $15 webcam that was 360 at best and couldn't shoot at 30 frames per second unless I had the best lighting I could possibly make.
You were doing the try not to rage compilations before they were cool.
I think it was while it was cool, and that's why nobody watched it, because it was like, okay,
oh, funny. Here's another one. Thanks. Yeah.
If I remember, I'll send you one of the old videos just so you can hear how bad it was. Unless you just don't want to waste your headphones might break. I'm not liable for that.
My soul. If there's one thing that hurts the most, it's bad audio.
Yeah, I 100% agree. This does kind of bring to what you do today. Like you talked about, you've spent tens of thousands of hours into video editing. Well, you're a super fancy editor now. Do you want to kind of dive into like what you do as your regular job?
Yeah, I actually am quite open with what I do and where I work, because I share things from it. And so I'm like, hey, here's this thing I worked on. And people are like, wow, you work for Young Life? And I'm like, yeah, I'm actually the video editor for Young Life. I'm there's only one, and it's me. So that's good. And I've been in the job for almost 2 years now. It's actually kind of crazy to think of it, especially because the last year has felt so long. But then when I look back at it, it's like, oh my gosh, it's already been 2 years. It doesn't feel like it's been that long. And I still don't feel like I know everything in the job, but it's really, really nice. I wanted to do video editing since I like right out of high school. I was like, oh, this is a thing. It doesn't feel like work, and it is a thing I enjoy. I can use all of the skills that I have and compile them into one thing and say, this is the the hydra of everything Misha's good at. You got the little music head, and then you got one that's for like languages and the travel, and then cameras and computers and editing, which is like it's a creative endeavor. You're stitching ideas together to create a seamless experience for the viewer. And I always love the idea of making people feel emotions. And if I could make my mom laugh with some dumb video I made, I was like, yes, I felt so proud. And that translated into a desire to make documentaries that were hopeful and full of inspiration and could inspire people to do something good and to make a change. And so I reached out to Young Life and I said, hey, I just graduated from college, but I really, really love the idea of what you guys do. It's youth ministry, which I love. And it's making these videos that are very hopeful and inspiring and get people to rally behind a cause that's good. And I loved the call and I loved the idea. And I went, oh, this is perfect. Except I don't know a whole lot about Young Life. And so I've had to learn a lot, especially because now as the editor, I get to be the mouthpiece. My boss always says, like, you've got the microphone, Mish. And I went, really? Are you sure? Me, the person who doesn't know everything, I have the microphone. Are you sure that's a good idea? I don't know. And he's like, but you have the stage, you have the microphone, you have the megaphone. You get to say, hey, this is what we're doing, and this is the impact we're making. Come join the cause. Come join in. If you're weary, we'll lift you up. And we've got other people who want to learn how to lift people up. So let's bring them in too. And just like all of that, I get to facilitate those messages in my videos. So I make videos that go out to the public, and then I make videos that stay inside the company that are like the president talking to all of us staff people and saying, hey, we're going to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and
right.
So like we get to celebrate all that stuff, and I get to make videos about it. So
yeah, I mean, it's great to live the dream of like investing into the career that you want to get into, and then get into that career like right after college.
It felt
that's such
weird.
a good feeling. Like that's how it was for myself. I invested into a technological career. I wanted to be some form of an engineer. And this to me was super cool to, get right out of college and kind of make your big kid job. Everybody talks about, your technicians are making a bunch of money, and they're this is a super lucrative opportunity and all this stuff, but you don't really see that until you start actually investing into the networking stuff. And then as soon as I legit, the final, the week of my finals was when I accepted my job to where I'm working at for the last 2 years. And that's what had me move out, from my parents' place. And it was super cool to be a part of that. And I feel like it's cool that I hear a very similar story to you. It's you graduated college and you're doing the thing that you love. And that's like my favorite thing to listen to for people in general, because not a lot of people sometimes leave college and know what they want to do, or even get the chance to do what they want to do. So it's sometimes a great feeling.
I took my sweet time getting to college so that I wouldn't do that. I was like, I am taking my time to get to college. I'm taking my time through college. And then once I got out of college, I was like, okay, I know what I want to do. I want to work in the private sector. I don't want to go to Hollywood, and I don't want to do freelance.
Sure.
Because neither is reliable or good. And so I knew that all that was left is working for a company and making their videos. And I was like, I got to find one that aligns with what I like. And I did an internship at, it's hard to explain what it is. It was a small startup called Axis, and it basically does culture translation. So like, to parents whose kids are talking about catching them dubs, and the parents are like, I don't know what that means. Are they doing drugs? And we can be like, no, it's a term. And so I
helped the dubs. They're watching Level Up Dubs Wednesday nights on Level Up for Charity. Yeah, we're promoting in the middle.
You can't help this kid. Anyway, But no, I got to help them make videos, and they were like, "Hey, pick a project," and I was like, "Cool, I'll be your social media manager." And I just kind of assigned myself that job, and made a video every week that we posted on their YouTube, their Twitter, and their Instagram. So I had to make 3 different versions of them that went on each. Oh, and Facebook, but that I think it took the YouTube one. So anyway, it was quite fun, and at the end of it, they were like, "Well, that's it. Have a good rest of your day." And I was like, You're not going to offer me a job. Okay, gotta find a real job. Help." And the only reason why I found the one at Young Life is I probably wouldn't even known, um, because of the crazy circumstances that led me to actually working there. Like they wanted to hire a guy and he said no, and so then they were actually looking for somebody, but it wasn't open on their website anyway. But I heard that they were still looking for an editor from my mom, who had heard from this lady in her Bible study. so and then her husband lives or works on the same floor as my now boss. So it was like the da, 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 and then back over to me, and I'm like, let's tie it with a little ribbon and be like, "Here's this mess." And I'm like, how am I supposed to apply if I can't apply on the website? Everything's closed. It says you're not looking for any more applicants, and yet I'm hearing through the grapevine that you're still looking for someone. And they're like, no, they're still looking. So I had to send an email with my portfolio and my resume and my cover letter and say, "Hey, I know you don't know me. I know I'm straight out of college, but let me just get through here real quick and be like, hi, please hire me." I had to actually want it, and I still had no idea what I was doing. It was really funny.
You're reminding me because technically there wasn't a job posting for where I'm working at now either. My college professor who taught voice over IP, which is basically your fancy Cisco phones. And I was in this class and we were talking about getting a job and what we were talking about, because a lot of us were seniors in that class. And he was like, "Oh, you guys looking for a job?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You hiring?" Because I know he worked full time for another company up there. And he was like, "Well, I'm not, but I know somebody that is." And legit, he reached out to me the next day and said, "Hey, send an email to this person with your resume, your cover letter, and just basically somewhat of a letter of intent." It was kind of the same thing as a cover letter, but whatever. I think he was just saying that I was interested in a position. And they called me 2 days later and were like, "Yeah, let's talk about your position." I got hired in 2 weeks. I was like, "Okay, wow, that was surprising." But yeah,
it took about 3 months to hire me, just because
the value of networking is so important, like the value to connect, just having somebody as standby, or just meeting somebody at some point can kind of help you
to be
out,
honest,
you're like,
I thought I would have more. I thought I would have to do more networking, because I went to school to not really learn a whole lot of new things, but definitely to network, because I was like, here are a bunch of teachers who really like me, and they're going to hook me up with people in the job in the industry. And so I worked as a PA on a B-rate film with Clifton Powell, who played he played Martin Luther King Jr. in the movie Selma, and that's the only big role I can remember him from. And then he had a role in this little dinky film that I helped be an assistant for. But I was an assistant to the director of Rats. What was it? Design, like the background of play, like we designed the set and dressed the set so that it looked like a house, like a lived-in house, because you clean out everything. Anyway, right. I had to go like buy things like bed sheets and pillow shams and brandy. Why? I don't know. And cigars and like the most bizarre things. And I was like, I really don't want to ever do this ever again. Networking got me. Thanks. But I did. Oh no, I did have I had a teacher who absolutely loved me. And in his class, he was that kind of teacher who was like, "Y'all aren't gonna pass my class. It's impossible to get an A, or very few of you will get an A." And I was like, gosh, I hate that. Well, I'm gonna prove him wrong. And mathed it out and figured out what I needed to get an A in his class, and went super try hard and made an A. One of 3 who made an A in the class of 30. and he just loved all the stuff I did so much that it is now, unless he's changed it, but at the very beginning, he like shows an example of work and says, "Hey, we'll be making things that look like this," and shows it to the. So he's like, "I'm gonna use yours if you don't mind," and I'm like, "For the example, are you sure? Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, it was great." I'm like, "Okay." Good thing I don't have to take this class ever again.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you for the A. I guess use my stuff. I gave it to you. Whatever. Bye bye.
And considering how old the one was that my class watched, I have a feeling that mine is still the one being watched, because there are not that many students who hear, "You'll make a B but not an A in my class," and go, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, watch me." I mean, I'm sure there are students who do, but like, would they? So he connected me with some freelance jobs, and that was cool. But again, freelance is not what I wanted to do. Hollywood, the B-rate film, also not what I wanted to do. And so I had tastes of both of the two sectors that I hated and did not want to go in, and not at all anything in the private sector. So the networking in school did not help me, except for maybe to solidify the fact that I did not want to go into that at all.
Yeah, I think sometimes just trying stuff helps, right? Because like if you had not done that, maybe the back of your mind would have been curious and like, well, maybe I'd be happier if I did that. But then you'd find out that you
Maybe
weren't.
I would have been successful.
Yeah.
Maybe it would have been kind of fun, even though I hate it. Like, I hate the idea of Hollywood, but like, what if I was actually really good at it and everyone loved me and like they treated me well? Like,
Right.
No. No.
Well, a lot of ducks that have to fall in a row. And sometimes I think going to the private sector, it's kind of a nice benefit for you, because all you have to do now is just, hey, I can kind of do my own thing, and I'm in a position I like. So
also you get like medical benefits.
Yeah.
Like it's an actual job. It's like a
Yeah.
desk job, but
Yep.
it's a little bit different from everybody else's desk job.
Do you know
But
how
you're
weird it was
protected by
to make an HSA? Like that, there's adult things. I'm like, I got an HSA account now. I'm living a life.
the moment they're like, "So do you want this kind of benefit or this kind of benefit? You get to choose." And I'm like, "So I get everything no matter what, but this is just like slightly more?" And they're like, "Yeah, just, whatever." And I'm like, "And it's free?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "What?" I'm so confused.
My favorite is I've never had dental insurance ever, so I've had to pay out of pocket every time I go there. And then my company was like, "I have dental insurance." Same thing with vision. Didn't have vision insurance. I have vision now. I'm like, what? This is a weird feeling.
The greatest thing now is that I can walk into the chiropractor, be like, "Hey," and then walk in, talk to the doctor, come back out, and be like, "Peace," and like I don't have to do anything.
Right.
They're like, "Congratulations, you don't have to pay a cent," and I'm like, this is honestly too good to be true. Like, I don't know if I want to work anywhere else, because the benefits anyway. Yeah, and I love editing. I'm going to segue for you. I love editing.
There you go.
And I enjoy being a perfectionist, and I am a self-proclaimed perfectionist. It bothers me if things are off, and I really, really like well-timed stuff, and I like editing to music and all that stuff. Like, I love making things perfect. But it can be really exhausting sometimes. And so when I was like, "Hey, I want to do video stuff. I want to do video editing for a job," I realized I couldn't do YouTube. Excuse me. I couldn't do YouTube forever, because I love YouTube, but if YouTube editing and editing for job are both editing, where's my break? And so at the time, obviously, I've been streaming for over 4 years now, so I had been streaming for a long time, and so I was like, "Oh, thank goodness I'm streaming," and that is kind of it's just a different beast from editing. Editing is a ton of pre-production, a ton of production, and a ton of post-production, and at least with streaming, I can just stream and be done, and then there's no extra work to be done at the end of it. And so I find my streaming to be a nice, relaxing at the end of the day or for the weekend, and that's it's my getaway.
First off, thanks, Archer. Appreciate it. I saw that you did a thing. But um, leading to a question for you about the world of editing. So I've seen a lot of the YouTube world and a lot of the editing trains that have happened behind it, although I've never been in Adobe Premiere. I don't know how I've managed to scathe myself out of not using that program for as many years that I've had. I just bought Photoshop for the first time yesterday. I've been using GIMP for so many years. No, don't scold.
I'm proud of you for being brave. I myself do not even use Photoshop. However, I have to use After Effects, which is basically Photoshop and Premiere. So it's like if they had a baby, that would be After Effects. So I have to know a lot of Photoshop stuff for that. And so when I open up Photoshop, I'm like, this is like After Effects, but like without the Premiere thing. Oh, duh. Like,
right. So what I want to lead into to ask you is, somebody that wants to get into that kind of space where they're working in production. Even if you wanted to even touch base on outside of video editing, you're more than welcome to, but I know that your specialty was within that. For somebody that's watching this, what would you suggest be steps to help them get to the position that they would want to get to, in your opinion?
In terms of editing only or all video work?
I'd be curious to talk about like getting into the career as one part. And another part is like, how do you essentially acquire the skills that, you've gotten to today?
Yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit about my journey. I started editing in high school, and I had Windows Movie Maker, and it's free. And it crashes every 3 minutes. And that, I think, the equivalent on Mac's is iMovie. Probably doesn't crash as much, but still, they're both janky as all get out. And I remember being like, this is still really fun, even though I lose all my progress every 3 minutes. And it taught me how to save. And then fast forward, and I've got a little bit nicer software, the ones you pay $80 for and you just get to keep it and they never update it. Only crashes once a week kind of thing, I'd already learned to save though, so that doesn't really bother me, but now it's got more tools and I'm doing fancier transitions, and I can put titles and have them pop up according to music. And what I did from the beginning until now has always been, I see that thing over there and I want to make something like it. And I have always had some kind of goal in mind for bettering. I want to make my work better. And so that's kind of been my journey. Is I had a goal. I wanted to make a thing that looked like that. And I saw a new thing and I went, oh, I wonder how they did that. Let me go tinker around and find out. And in the end, I ended up spending a lot of hours just trying to figure out how to do things. And not necessarily Googling them either, because it's a creative process. It's not like math. Math will say, how do you get 5? Well, you add 2 plus 3 or 3 plus 2. Doesn't really matter. Those are the two components. You have to do it that way. And in editing, you go, I want this feeling. What plus what equals that feeling? I have no idea. Right. I guess there's some silence. I guess there's some good music, but I guess there has to be a story. Okay, how do I make the people laugh? Well, it's got to be funny. Well, what are the rules of comedy? Well, there's some rules of comedy, but there are also just some dumb things that are hilarious to your friends, and it's an inside joke. And so that could be funny too. And so creativity is this loose, and it takes time. So that's my journey. So my recommendation to anybody who thinks they want to try to get into any of this, just know it's a lot of work. Know that your stuff is not going to look like you hope it looks right off the bat, because it's like drawing. And this is my favorite example for video editing. All of the video editing tools are like a pencil in the hand of an artist. If you know how to draw, or if you could just draw stick figures, that's all you can draw, and that's fine. But you only need a very small #2 bought at the dollar store pencil. You don't need a super fancy pencil in order to draw that. Now, you can give a #2 pencil or a little dollar store pencil to a well-renowned artist, and they might find it really frustrating that the lead breaks a whole lot and that the wood chips a lot and it kind of interferes with their work, but they could still draw really well with the same tool that you used. Likewise, if a great artist uses a fantastic pencil that has really smooth graphite and is like really nicely done, or maybe a mechanical pencil that has different size of leads and all that stuff, like you could do a lot more with those because they're different tools built for different things, and you can be wise about what you use for what. And then if you take someone who's not very good at drawing and hand them that pencil, it doesn't make the drawings any better. So the secret is not to get the fanciest, nicest editing software, the nicest camera, the nicest computer, the nicest blah, 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 blah. It doesn't help you if you don't know the basics. So learn the basics first. And so I always recommend that people use free software. There's some good free software besides just Windows Movie Maker. DaVinci Resolve is fantastic. It's used in the Hollywood industry, for goodness sake. You know, if it's good enough for them, it's probably good enough for you. But again, it's a super fancy tool. It's got a lot of fancy stuff in it. And you may just need something more simple. So start with what you're comfortable with and get good at using that particular tool and spend time in it. Find a goal and say, I want to make my stuff look like that, and then copy it. Who's going to stop you? Don't steal other people's music. Don't steal other people's words, but you can definitely steal other people's ideas, especially when it comes to creativity, because mimicry or to copycat someone is the greatest form of flattery. If I see somebody trying to copy my white pan style and they go, oh my gosh, that's so cool, I want to try and make it, and they make it their own, it's going to be a little bit different because that's how creativity is. And I would encourage that because I'm like, I looked at other people's work and I said, that's cool. What if I just did that one thing, but like everywhere? And that became one of my styles. And so you can look at that and say, wow, that's a lot of all of that everywhere. What if I only put it here? And then you've created your own style that looks a whole lot like some other people's styles, but it's yours because you made it in a specific way. So I would say watch things, be critical, find goals in them and say, hey, I want to make my stuff look like that. If you don't know how, just try your best, get as close as you can. If you are serious about it, you will take the time to learn and teach yourself. And if you just want a quick fix, you'll Google the answer. And that's not to say you can't Google things, but that is a very, you won't really learn it, and it won't become yours if you just copy what other people do.
Right. Yeah, I think it's been
kind of thing.
I love the analogy, honestly. The pencil was like nail on the head, perfect to describe.
Every editor I talk to, I explain that and they go, oh yeah, no, that's it. That's exactly it. And I go, yeah, it's because there's no difference between art and art. It's art.
I think what's so cool though is like, as an editor, you get to, you've already kind of said it, you get to create that story. And you know, whether you want to make it a sad story, like shoot, I could be crying on camera, but you could be putting the funniest clown music in the background to really just throw the viewer off of what exactly is supposed to actually happen there. Or you could make this the saddest thing ever and have rain falling in the front of it, or whatever. The cool thing is you get the chance to make it your own and to tell a story. I think it's a lot of the reason I loved playing Dungeons and Dragons so much, is because it's just, you get to curate those things and you get to experience something that you get to be creative on your own. You're not just following the next suit that happens behind it. I know it's nowhere near the same thing as video editing, but in the creative brain, I really love to think about stuff creative. Like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I want to transition for a second. I think we've touched base pretty well on your career as a video editor and how you've curated a story and pencils. And I want to kind of touch into now your world of Twitch. We kind of talked about how you got in around 2016 and how, yeah, that's Steve. Shout out Steve, by the way. Hi, I haven't talked to you in forever. Hope you're doing well.
I know.
How he basically said you have to stream a ton. I'm sure tons of other people saying the same thing here. You know, it started out, I remember the days it was a camera on a laptop, and the laptop wasn't even that good of a performer as it is. So you played through the piano and, you know, kind of
there. I have my potato cup enshrined.
So I want to talk to you about like how you felt and your experience in those initial years. You know, not too much really kind of happens in those early days, and then you start to grow a bit. You know, talk to me about your life as a streamer in those early years and how it kind of took you to today.
Yeah, actually, well, so because we just recently, like in the past months or so, a few months, celebrated my 4-year anniversary, stream anniversary. And then also with the new year, we kind of had a year in review look at. So a lot of this is very fresh in my mind. I started 2016, and it was in the summertime that I was being pressed upon to stream, because what I did at the time was play piano music in a Discord call. And everyone would hop in and they'd mute themselves so they could all hear. And they'd work on their homework or do things and like the dishes, whatever, and just listen to the music. And then after every song or so, I'd resolve and people would unmute to clap and then mute again and keep playing. Mish, keep playing piano.
Keep playing
piano.
Game.
Yeah. just keep playing for it. And so then Steve reached out and he was like, you know, you're getting like an average of 8 people, somewhere between 5 to 20 people on a regular day, just being like, hey, we're having a little piano recital concert thing, whatever. Everybody join in if you want to listen in. And, you know, and then of course someone would join in who doesn't know what's going on. And they'd be like, hey, what's going on? Everyone unmute and go, shh, and then mute again. It was just such a funny time.
We're listening to calling music. Shut up.
Yeah. And so then I thought, oh, this is great. Yeah, let me try and stream. But of course my internet was 5 down, half up. So
Woo.
we had, I had to cap the stream at 200 kilobytes per second. 200 KB. Not
for those that are new to streaming, I'm just going to tell you right now, the average that they recommend you today is roughly about 5 kbps if you're doing a 720 or actually a 1080 60 stream. So yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So and before I figured that out, I had tried to stream once and it was just ultimate slideshow. It was maybe a frame once every 3 minutes or so. And people are like, can't wait for the next slide to show up. But people still watched because they could hear the audio. And so I streamed a couple times with just black screen, because what was the point of trying to share my video when it didn't work? And then we figured out we could cap it at 200 and it sort of worked, and I would still drop a ton of frames, but like it kind of worked.
Yeah.
And it just went on from there. I remember I didn't stream a whole lot. I was just like, oh, I guess whenever I feel like it. And maybe streamed about 4 times and then got hosted by Dan Zizzle, who was at the time a semi-pro in Rocket League and now does whatever he wants. But he had been kind of handed a Twitch partnership because Twitch and Rocket League had that, you know, short fling, you know, they weren't exactly together.
I don't really know if you know how this timeline worked, but fun fact, the person that recommended Dan Zizzle to host you was me. I just realized that. So once upon a time, a little story. When I was casting Rocket League, Dan Sizzle was part of like I think the Bunny Gang or something, and we'd cast him in Gfinity. And there was a clip that blew up where I said the phrase Dan Sizzle the Nizzle manages to score it into the gazizzle, and that blew up and became a meme for him. And people started to flock. But more, I don't think I'm directly correlated. This dude was really good and he was a funny personality, but there was a part of that where I helped to influence it. But anyway, I was like always in his chat. I was working at this job for my college, but I'd like have his stream open with my headphones on.
Jordan, what is that? Are we rediscovering how we met?
Yes. There you go.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were in that group. There was 80. I remember it was 83 people.
Oh my goodness, the Discord call. I almost forgot about that, where we had like every single, that's what we're talking about, right? Because that's where the 83 people were happening.
No,
oh,
really?
Okay, I'm thinking of a different, okay, there's a different one. But what's I'm sure we still probably met at that point though.
Dan rated me with that many people. It's the most people I've ever had in my chat ever in the 4 years that I've ever streamed, and it was on like the 4th day I've ever streamed. Can't go back, right?
Yep.
Anyway, so he rates me. I'm like, oh, I recognize the name because Rocket League family, and I'm like, hi guys, I don't play games, but like I play piano. I mean, I do play games, but just not. Well, I can't stream it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the really potato quality everything. And they were like, oh, this is great, a potato stream. And, immediately lost 1,000 viewers because, it was potato stream. And, who sticks around after a host? The raids didn't exist at the time. It was a host. Yep. And so, but I played piano music for them, and that was all sorts of fun. So that was my biggest moment. Should have applied for partnership then, but
well, that's the thing. He got rejected like 3 times during the process. Like he would get the threshold naturally, and then he basically had to be in title saying, don't host me. And he grinded to that point, and it was really cool. Unfortunately, we kind of disconnected a little bit. I still come in every once in a while, and he streams Escape from Tarkov. Now he's kind of transitioned from Rocket League.
I remember when he became a Fortnite streamer and came up with all these fans, like Fickle Platypus and Dan Sizzle were both on my Twitter timeline coming up with these fancy new moves. And Dan was always like, I'm not a Rocket League streamer anymore, guys. And people would come and be like, what do you play Rocket League? And he's like, timeout.
Yep.
So exactly. I'd like mad respect to him, and just like huge shout out to that whole community, because I became an avid viewer after that. And I'm pretty sure that's how I met you. So there we go. But there were a lot of people that were all interconnected, and so I'm pretty sure I knew you through other groups too.
Well, like as an example, you kind of talked about one of our bigger stream friends, Low5, and how I kind of grew to know him a bit, and we hung out a little bit, not a ton. I'd probably say acquaintance, but I helped him with a couple of techie things a while back, and I'd hang out and chat. We just chat for a bit. And of course, it's always really funny because I remember like the early days where I would like, pop into Low5's chat and I'd see like Meesh type, and I'm like, Meesh, you're here. And you'd be like, Jordan, it's Sfernaday, you're here. I'm like, they did it.
You were Spur back then. I loved it.
I went by Sfernaday, and I love the name, but God, nobody understood that 6 consonants in the beginning of a name was the most difficult thing to pronounce. So finally, when we started designing Level Up for Charity, I started to go under Sfernaday, but I'm like, you know what? When I'm going through business or I'm going through chats with people, I want to just be called Jordan. Like there's Michael Jordan, there's Michael B. Jordan, there's freaking the Jordan River, the country Jordan. I'm like, that's a cooler name at its core. I'm just going to stick with my actual name. So
actually use your real name, like me. So just fast forwarding. I mean, obviously my stream was super potato at the time, and we were like, stream was like, yes, potato stream. We love stream, and I was like, yeah, potato. I don't like being potato, but I guess we should embrace it. And so had channel points that were through a third party at the time. Twitch did not have channel points back then. And so I named them potatoes. So everybody got potatoes, and we'd have Potato Tuesday. And then as I streamed, because I was in school at the time, sometimes I would have classes on Tuesday nights, and so I couldn't have a Potato Tuesday. So we had Potato Thursday for a while. A little bit harder to say, still kind of on brand. And then as soon as I graduated in 2018, I was like, back to the Potato Tuesday because I missed the OG.
Right.
Even though at that point we'd had more Potato Thursdays than we had Potato Tuesdays. And so that was just a lot of fun, embracing that. And then gosh, there were some highlights. I was like, great, I want to save up money. Well, chat was like, we need to get you better internet because 5 down, half up is awful. It just is. Like, my games suffered, my streams suffered, and I said, okay. And because affiliates weren't a thing, and the only money I got was through donations, I made a deal with chat. I said, hey chat, as long as I can make $20 a month, we can pay for an upgrade, because it cost $20 more to get the nicer internet that was at least 5 up. And so I told my parents, I said, hey, can I get nicer internet? I'll help pay for it. Actually, Stream is going to pay for it. And so I kind of made a contract in blood with chat, and we were like, we're doing this. As long as you guys pay for it, I will continue to stream. And so that's at the very end of 2016, I started streaming a little bit more regularly. And then all of 2017, I was in school and trying to do this and trying to raise money for building a computer. I ended up buying it pre-built just because it was a little bit faster and I needed it for a LAN fest. But necessity calls, right? And so, but I remember I had a donation goal of 200 just sitting there because I was like, well, that'll buy me something and I'll get started on the building process.
I just remembered that during that time you were looking to upgrade your machine. I remember that Django and I both built like a list of like, here's what you could do if you wanted to.
Yes. You guys are like PC part picker. Let's go through all this stuff.
Like, here's the link, here's the graphics card. You're like, that sounds like a thing you should do.
And then I straight up bought a pre-built. But no. So Sky Does Minecraft came into my stream and dropped $200. And I remember being like, you're not the real Sky Does, because there I was playing Minecraft, streaming Minecraft, because it was one of the only games that I could stream. Sure. And like the bitrate was so awful, but you couldn't really tell, like I played at 8 frames per second anyway. So what was stream suffering from anyway? And I was like, you're not the real one. And he was like, oh yeah, as he talked in chat. And so we were all like clicking on his name, looking at his profile. I was like, no, he's got like hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitch. It looks like it's the real account. And I'm like, what? Hello? And then that was like right after there was a bunch of drama with him too. And I was not keeping up with that. So I was just like, I just know the name and he's a famous person. So I was like, whoa. And people are like, yeah, maybe don't. Maybe but
don't
it was
endorse him,
Yeah, don't endorse him. But it was still so like I was still so honored that he was generous towards me, and he was like, I think the message he sent to was like, well, that goal's done, like bring on the next one, kind of thing. And I was like, wow, cool. And I went to tell my mom and my dad and my grandparents on my mom's side, because they were still kind of like, early 2017, they're like, she's doing this streaming thing and she says she's making money, but it's just enough to pay $20 for the upgraded internet. And right. What are you really going to get out of this kid? And I was like, somebody donated $200. And my grandparents were like, oh, you should pursue this. I was like, wait, are you sure? Like, what about my degree? And they're like, oh, still get your degree. And I'm like, okay, good. You haven't quite lost it yet. But I remember that moment being like, oh, so this is what Steve was talking about, that some people are just like super, super generous. And they would just do that right out of the blue without even knowing you, which felt weird. And you asked me earlier, before me talk so much, you asked question, and question was, how did I feel about it? And how did it go? The first 2 years of streaming was weird. It felt weird to have people donate and not expect anything in return. I wanted to do something to merit it. And a lot of times there was pressure on me that I put upon myself to be good enough for it, even though from their end they were just happy to support me. And there was a point too that I burnt myself out on playing piano. And that really sucked because at the time and prior to that, going through school was tough as it was, and piano and music was my release. And Twitch and streaming was also a release, but then I was doing both of my releases at the same time and trying to like relax, but with the pressure of performing good enough to get it to merit the money that people were giving me and things like that. I was still just like, I don't want to be like that girl that people are just giving money to because she's cute or something like that. Like, that's awful. Sure. I hate that. I wanted to earn it. And so there was pressure to do well. There's pressure to be a good piano player. And I started hating my music. And it got so awful to the point that I stopped streaming for a couple weeks, which is like a lot for me at the time, because at the time I was streaming at least weekly because there was a potato per Thursday or per Tuesday, whichever one. And because I was like, well, I either have to play a video game and I don't have a nice enough computer to do that, or I have to play piano and I don't want to play piano. And for a while afterwards, I got my nice computer and things. I could play other games now. So like the world of Twitch opened up to me, and that was fantastic. But there were still people asking me, hey, when are you going to do another piano stream? Oh, I missed MikkiMeesh doing piano streams. Oh, why doesn't she do piano streams anymore? And that was really brutal for my mental health, especially while I was still in school, because I was in school and depressed from school as it was. And then to have stream chat not appreciate that I was at least streaming. I mean, it's not like they weren't appreciative. It was just that they were like, we really missed the piano streams. Like, what do I do my homework to? And I'm like, well, you could still lurk and like, I could talk and all that stuff, but it's not the same, it's not the same. And so I've gone back and done a few piano streams since. But like I can count them on one hand. It's been 3 or 4-ish, maybe. And I hate that I lost the will to play piano through Twitch, but in not streaming it anymore, I've been able to play it on my own and enjoy it again. It just is. It can bring back a lot of awful memories. A lot of times while I streamed piano, at least, it was I'd want to talk to people because that was the whole point of it. Like if I wanted to just put out my music or make a video of me being funny and not get a response, I would put it on YouTube, just like I had with all the other dumb videos I've done that I have taken down. Right. And I would have just done that. But the whole point of Twitch is the interaction, and I wanted people to talk, but people wouldn't talk because they didn't want me to stop playing piano. So it was this double-edged sword of, it's really nice. It's a nice thing to stream and people enjoyed it, but it was not enjoyable for me to stream because it defeated the purpose of streaming, because I wanted to stop and talk to people. And then I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm still playing piano. And then I would not focus well on my piano playing and then be like, what was I even playing? I don't know. And I was never really happy with it. And so school was a dark time of my life in general. And stream was a bright spot in it. And when stream started to, for me, die, I was like, I need to revive this quick. And it's not like chat was not alive. It's not like people didn't come and watch. It's that I was no longer enjoying it. And that, I think, is the slowest painful death of anything. So I completely dropped piano music. And I no longer do that. And now I don't even have a piano in my house. So like people can't bug me to do it. So
right. There you go.
So I'm able to, expand into other things, and I will play a game so much that people are like, wow, Misha's a Satisfactory streamer now, or like, wow, Misha's a Minecraft streamer now. And like, so it's all sorts of fun, but like, I really do enjoy having the freedom to stream whatever I want. And that took a while.
Right.
In 2018, it was the most success, I guess I could say, for my stream. I was able to stream a lot. I had just graduated in May of 2018. And so in that summer, I had so much free time and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I hadn't had my internship yet. And so I was just kind of like bumming at my parents' place and like, might as well stream. I'm a full-time streamer. And so I made a lot of new friends, and the stream grew a lot, and that was really fun. And I was finding my pacing with all the other things that I wanted to stream and all the other games that I was really excited to play. And so 2018 was a really good year. And I for a while, I called it my golden year, just because like even in the middle of it, I was like, this is the best year. I may not ever get to that 83 host level of viewership ever again. And that's fine, because that was overwhelming and I don't think I ever want to be there. But at least I was at a place where I could keep up with chat, and then chat could also kind of keep up with me, and we could bounce off each other. And a lot of people, especially during that year, a lot of people were saying things like, wow, I'm so glad I found you. Wow, I'm so glad that I stopped by the stream. I'm just, wow, you're just so wholesome. And oh, this is such a fun place to be. And I feel safe here. Like hearing those kinds of reviews from my community, I was like, wow, I've actually built something really nice here. And it started to shape into, I actually really want to do this, not just because people wanted me to stream or because people wanted me to play the piano music and now I'm not doing the thing that they want me to do. I'm streaming what I want to and what I enjoy to do, and it's like the joy is rubbing off on people. And now it's building this community of people who start to care about each other. People say hi to each other, like you and I said hi to each other in Lo-Fi's chat. I was building that community, and that's what I realized. I was like, oh, I want to do that. Not so much of like, okay, I'm streaming piano because people told me to. I have a goal, and it's to make a community like Lo-Fi's. But it was also at that time I'd seen a ton of other communities that have very similar feelings, and I was like, I want to make something like that where people can come in and say hi, and a bunch of other people go, oh hey, oh hey, oh hey, oh hey, it's so good to see you. And the next person comes in and everyone's like, what's up? You know, I loved that because it wasn't about me. I didn't have to perform. I wasn't doing a concert anymore. It wasn't up to me to be good enough, and it felt better when people supported it because I was like, oh, you are enabling this community to continue.
Right.
And then by your own merit and dollar, you can contribute to this continuing. And not like I'd stop streaming if I never made any money for it, but like it helped me make it better because I could actually buy a microphone or actually buy a webcam and that sort of stuff. So that was really fun. And then 2019, I got my job, so I didn't get to stream a whole lot because I was still trying to figure out how my job was. And then 2020 hit, and I, working from home.
Woo.
So stream has been growing a lot in 2020, which is really great because I think it rivals the golden year of the 2018 era. And so it's nice because I don't have to look back on that anymore and be like, oh, I miss when chat was, like when chat cared about it, like the viewers cared about each other so much back then. I want them to care about each other now, and they do, and that's really cool. So, yeah. There
you go. The story of Meesh. Yeah. I love small to mid-size stream like sizes, I guess I could say. Because we're seeing this in Level Up for Charity. There are people, and it's such a cool feeling when people are like, hey, I really appreciate being here. I've met my friends, or we've even had people start dating that they met through our Discord, which is super cool.
Oh, you love to see it. See it.
No kidding. And seeing stuff like that, and I'm sure you've experienced it at your capacity as well, seeing people being like, hey, person that I met, you're probably 3 countries away, but I still get a chance to talk to you and hang out with you and get to meet you. And that's what's been cool. That's what introduced you and I together. That's what introduced a lot of the connections that I made across that community and going forward here to today. Had we not connected back in 2016, we wouldn't have hung out freaking 2019 for FTK 7. I want to touch on one thing as a question following to this. You know, a lot of what I feel that you're known for, and we've talked about this before, post that FTK7 event, is that, you know, you carry yourself in a fashion that you're very positive, and that's authentically, like, a lot of people use the term wholesome, but you know, you carry yourself very well, and you're a great person. Like, I don't care what people will say, when, you know, it's good to know that you were, you know, a great person. Oh, sorry, then there was 6. What kind of motivates you to be that best person that you can be, in, you know, on a daily basis? Or maybe you're not, you know, maybe just totally say, shut up, Jordan, I'm not that at all, you nerd. It's your call too.
I mean, I was voted most wholesome 3 times in a row now, so there is that. Granted, the other people on the ballot were like my mom and Meep, so well, it was a close race. Close race. And the first 2 times are actually self-endorsed, so voted by myself. Anyway, the joke. Most wholesome 3 times. I guess it started like, okay, here's a side note. When you expect things of people, they rise to the occasion. And if you expect little of somebody, they have place to fall. They have room to fall. And when I was just starting streaming, people were like, I was just trying to be myself. And people were like, wow, you're just so genuine. And I was like, man, I'm so glad I'm genuine. Like, that's good. Like, there's so much fake on the internet. There's so many people being personas, and that's for a good reason. Like, I don't knock that at all, because it's wise to do that. Because if somebody attacks your character on the internet and it's all a character that you play, they are not really attacking you. They're attacking something you made, yes, so it's still insulting, but they're not really attacking you. And so it's a way to distance yourself from the screen. And to be your true self online is kind of scary, but because it's rare, and people really appreciated that. And I was like, wow, I want to be more that. And so over the past 4 and a bit years, I've been asking the question constantly, is this me? Am I being more me than I could be? Am I being the best me? Am I being a true, genuine me? Am I showing people the me that I want them to see, or the me that really is? And is it wise to show the me that really is right now if I'm having a really bad day? Should I even be streaming if I'm having a bad day? Those sorts of questions, like constantly asking myself and trying to figure out where I fit in the streamer sphere of, am I a persona that's just super wholesome? Because then that could be toxic positivity. Or am I super genuine and super myself? In which case I'm putting myself on the front line, very, very close to that screen, and saying, here I am. This is all you get. This is what I am. This is who I am. If you attack me or not, that's up to you. Thankfully, not a whole lot of people have attacked me, because I guess I'm not very attackable. But I that's nice, isn't it? But I think my drive and desire to be a kind and positive person comes from my desire to be genuine. If I was just trying to be positive, it would end up in toxic positivity. I'd be like, oh, we're not talking about sad things today. Shush. You know, like I would be a lot more, I'm already controlling. I'm the Meesh tater of this Meesh tatership. It's funny because it's Meesh and then potato. It's like dictator, but we're not. I'm a Meesh.
Yes.
So
thank you for explaining. I didn't know.
Yeah. Just just in case you didn't know. And so I still am pretty controlling of, like, this is my stream, I do what I want, and people are like, oh yes, the Meesh tater. She says what happens, and we all agree. All hail the Meesh, you know. And it works out for the stream. So there's still a little bit of a persona there, but when things get real, when someone in chat tells me they lost their father, or they've had a really hard day, or they lost one of their friends, or their parents are sick, or, there's something going on. I don't want to gloss over that, just like everyone else would. And even though I don't really know them well enough to speak into their lives, I tell them what I do know and try my very best to be the most genuine version of me that I can be to them. Because I think that if I didn't, it would be the most insulting thing, because they had just bared their souls to me. So why would I not do that in return?
You said you don't feel like you're really much of an attackable person, or at least from the experience of your stream, you're not really an attackable person. Do you want to kind of dive into what you think could be the reason that you're not really an attackable person? I know when I've been in streams before, you've had people that I know can be kind of creeping at times. And most of the time what I've noticed is you just kind of go, okay, or just kind of carry it on and don't give attention to it. Maybe that could be an attributing factor. But I'm curious what makes you, like, what do you think is the reason that you don't see a lot of that hate or that negativity that happens?
I don't really fan those flames. There's drama everywhere on the internet, and if there's one thing middle school taught me is that we don't feed the trolls. Wait, no, that's the internet. What did middle school teach me? Oh yes, ignore the people who bother you. I think in a lot of times, if I understand that people lash out when they're hurt, if someone is lashing out, it means that they need help. And if I'm not in a place to give them the help, then they shouldn't be there. And so I've got a pretty low tolerance for banning people who are obviously not there to hang out, because now the goal of the stream, instead of just, it's evolved. The goal of the stream has evolved, and it's building this community now. So now, like, it's been recent. No, it's for the past 3 years or so, it's been to build a community. And so if someone shows up and they're obviously not there for that, we just kind of escort them out gently or forcefully. And there's only one person that was an exception, and that's Call Strike. And he came in and said something silly, and I was like, I don't know what you mean by that, but okay. And no, I had no mods in chat because it was way early, and he ended up being a really super decent person and a really, really great friend. And so every now and then, because of him, I give people a chance. We'll wait. We'll see if you can think of a nicer thing to say, and if they really are intent on just making a fuss, then we'll just encourage them to make a fuss elsewhere. I also don't try to other way around. I try not to react a whole lot to things the way that people would want me to. If they're trying to bait me into saying something, years on Twitch will teach you what to say and what not to say, what names to read, what not to read. If a user
starts with Sugan, there's probably something wrong. So
yes, yeah. You're just gonna learn. And
don't ask who Joe is. We already know who Joe is. Everybody knows who Joe is.
But you go, even if you don't know something, and you say something and they're like, I got you. You could just be like, okay, cool. And, because what they're looking for is oh my gosh, the super reaction. Right. And so this is the middle school lesson that I learned. If not to be used for if someone's abusing you, but if someone is bullying you, you just agree with them. They're like, you're such a nerd. Yeah, I sure am. And they're like, but you suck. Yeah, probably do. But you're the worst person in the world. You're onto something there.
My go-to in high school was, hey, you suck. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
You don't do anything. Okay.
Just say okay. Say yeah, okay. Okay, sure. You're onto something there, Copernicus.
Most people, when they experience this, they're here. And that by bringing somebody down or being negative or toxic in any situation, they're trying to go here, but it's an artificial here. You kind of just feel like in your own brain you're going to here, but reality, you're falling down the mountain. And I think that people sometimes don't realize that. So that's what I think has been important. So, I'm glad that I've done internet for as much as that I've done, and kind of work in technology and do what I do, because it's funny when people try to make either a bait and switch tactic, or if they start to harass somebody. I remember we had somebody enter our Discord weeks ago, and it was funny because two people were like, hey, just so you know, this person has been historically toxic in another community that I know of, and I can verify this. And he sent off like actual things. I'm like, okay, sounds good. He joins a call we're in. It's like 2 a.m. I don't know why I was up, but he joins a call and he's like trying to harass one of the other guys. And I'm just like, can I ask you what you're up to today, dude? And he's just like, I'm just hanging out with my friends. And I'm like, I've never met you. I can't call you a friend. And he was just like, well, you know, then some of these people consider me friends. And I'm like, none of these people know you either. What do you want here? And he's like, I was like, all right, cool. Well, anyway, have a good day.
Yeah, I found good ways to get around things like that too, where instead of like, calling people out, because I know some people hate confrontation and then they get stepped on because of it. And I'm like, there are ways to avoid as opposed to confront. And when something like that happens, there are easy ways to be like, hey guys, come join this special secret Discord. We're just going to join that for a little bit and talk there instead. And you can do that to escape if you want to. And then it causes no drama. And, you know, it's nice. The other thing is like finding people you trust and having good mods that I trust, and then also not airing out any dirty laundry. Like if there is some drama, I keep it within my mods. I tell my mods, they know. Weeks later, we've all forgotten about it. Instead of being like, so-and-so said this on my stream and posted on Twitter, because then that just causes drama and then you get people saying things. It's like, we understand the drama is publicity. We understand, but I am not here to get famous, and I'm not here for the publicity. I'm here to build an actual family, like people who actually care about each other. And so if we have dissent, we're going to figure it out within the family. I'm going to talk to the people involved, because we've had a few squabbles or interesting situations, like giving away keys and people being picky about what key they get. You're like, I'm giving away a code. You either take it or don't. That's the end of that.
This is a gift. This isn't like I just gave you a pair of socks for Christmas. It's like, I could have gave you nothing. I could have not cared. I could have not been here. I could have literally not texted you at all.
I don't want to like go through that list either towards them. Like I don't waste the time. Instead I go, great, this is what I see. I'm just gonna move on. Congratulations, we're done here. You know, and it is we're able to just kind of we're able to avoid, the community is able to avoid a lot of drama. If there is drama between people, I don't know about it, because the ones that I did know about, we've resolved, or there's been some sort of resolution to it.
I believe most problems can have a solution to them. And as long as you want to approach it from a perspective of being mature or looking to make the best solution, you know, then you just win. There's no way around it. As long as people are willing to look for the solution that's there, you know, whether it was one person that acted out erratically or if there was a justification for it, there's a lot of things that you can see for it. And you know, we've seen that case before, and it's not uncommon here on the internet, but you know, that's kind of how that plays. And the best that you can do is just, you know, attack it from what your experience and what your knowledge possesses, and, you know, be willing to be adults about it. Just be adults. Okay.
That's the thing.
I want to move now to the world of charity. First off, congratulations. You hit over $5,000 for Extra Life last year. That's super awesome. The year before that was our Adventures of FTK Land, and that was when, God, you raised $3,000, and I think another grand after that with another event, was it? Or
so last year, 2020, we actually hit. Hold on. Let me just go find it.
All right,
because I can do this. Hold on. Okay. Okie dokie. So
you raised $3 million. Congratulations.
So as of December 23rd, 2020, we raised $4,029.50 just for Extra Life. And then there was another 1,000 some odd that we raised just for COVID research through a Landfest charity. And so those are the only two for last year. The previous year, I was with you guys and I did two different events. One with you, where we had that massive anonymous donation for $1,337 after we were done streaming.
The elite donation. That was the most hilarious thing. We're just walking out from like just hanging out downtown, and all of a sudden she's like, I got the email that was like, hey, one of your team members got a donation. I'm like, Meesh, you want to check this? It's like, I just got a $1,337 donation. I'm like, you're off stream. Who the heck is just like, all right, here you go, anonymous.
Let me get the actual numbers for you now here. Yes. So the very first year I raised 2,615. And that was just on complete accident. And then 2019, when I was with you guys, I raised $4,000 flat.
I'd say that was a pretty good event.
That was a really good event. So I barely made a new record this year, this past year, 2020.
This was kind of cool from our side. I was just looking at our numbers. This year was kind of cool because we partnered directly with the Children's Hospital. Our number was like 7,600 something total that we raised with them. And that was because we had like corporate sponsorships this time that put everything together. We're probably going to be doing it again this year, but it's blown me away that I don't really know if you've seen this post or not, but we were talking about this on Twitter on our account. We've raised over $24,000 year to date for our stuff, which is freaking cool. You know, and what's crazier is that 16 grand of that. Now I have to preface that 16 grand does include like your number because it was a part of our event kind of thing. So I got to preface that, but the 16 grand was a part of basically what we were able to coordinate for these last 2 years. And that's just been incredibly cool to see that grow. But what I want to get into is my question for you.
My year to date is 10,000, not year to date. The total raised is 10,000, not year to date. Gosh. Which we hit 10,000 last year. So
regardless, it's just you putting that stuff together. So I want to lead into my question, which just basically and simplistically is why do you invest into charity work?
Wow. So I never really thought that it was going to be my thing. I saw a lot of people raising money for St. Jude's, Extra Life. There's so many others, like One Up on Cancer. There's, so many great. I wouldn't even know which one to pick, honestly, if I had done it by myself. And I really didn't. I didn't know what way to go about it, and I also didn't think that I had a big enough fan base. I like a community. Like I was like, I don't know. I was like, there's some people who are super generous to me, but like, what if I go, hey, don't give it to me, give it to this group that I don't know a whole lot about? Like, I didn't think it was going to be very successful. But the very first year that I did Extra Life and any charity fundraising at all, on Twitch. I'd done charity events before in person, just through church and things like that, because there was always some goal. And so, but I separate that because that was facilitated by a bigger organization, and I was just kind of like a pawn in it. I very rarely took the initiative on these things because I was like, well, I don't have a whole lot of influence and I don't know a whole lot of people. But then when I had my streaming platform, I was like, oh, here I know a lot of people, but I still don't know if I know like a lot of, like, I don't know. And like I was scared of being like, here's my goal, and then we didn't hit it. Like that's terrifying.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'll wait until I'm bigger. And then in 2018, I got invited to do an Extra Life charity stream by a bunch of friends that I know in Denver, part of Gaming. And I'd just been introduced to the group, and they were like, we're doing an Extra Life charity event. Come join us. And I went, are you sure? And they're like, yeah. And I have the totals from 2018. It was really funny because they were like, we want to raise $500. And it was just the three of them on the team. They had maybe 20 people in the group, but 3 people wanted to raise money. And so, each one, put a 20 in the pot, and they were going to be like, oh, we'll have these little groups, game groups, and whoever loses has to donate $20. And so there was some money in the games, and it was all sorts of fun. And I was like, sure, like I'll try and raise $500. Their team goal was $500. Needless to say, we raised $500, and then someone donated another $500 on top of that, and it hadn't even been an hour. And I was like, Rob, hey Rob. And again, this was in 2018, my golden year. So there were lots of people, and I was like, wow, I'm pretty sure I think we can get to $500. Like that would be good. And chat was like, how dare you give us such a measly goal, Mish? We are powerful. We are strong. We do what we want. And we ended up raising well over $2,500 that year. And I was like, whoa, cool. And I still didn't even know what Extra Life was. And so for the next year, I was like, well, our goal is 500. We raised over 2,000. Maybe I can make another goal of 2,000. Because it's a lot higher than where we were before, but like, it'll be good. We'll do that. So I was like, okay, make the goal 2,000. And you had also reached out to me and said, hey, would you care to do an event? And I'm like, really? Because, I don't have a whole lot of history of doing this. And like, I literally just like, last time our goal was $500. Like, I don't think you understand. Right. And you were like, this grandiose plan of like, we're going to raise all this money. And I'm like, okay, all right, cool. Well, as long as I'm still not setting it up, like right. The first year I was with Gaming, and the second year I was also with Gaming, but also with you guys.
We're just going to make sure that you don't fly in and fly out the days of the event. That was the only real pain point. Like it'd have been so much better had we planned that better. But
yeah, it was still a blast to get flown out, to go be with you guys, to sleep on the floor, to play OS a whole lot because I was finally getting actually good at it, to listen to Tense fall asleep on call. He was not asleep. Sorry, disclaimer, he was not. He was totally asleep. And this is like the whole. It was so much fun. And then to be able to like kind of piggyback off of your guys' ideas. And then be like, wow, I can actually do this. And listening to you guys, you brought in Kendall, who is a miracle kid, and listening to the stories, and you guys had like that bag of stuff and went like, here's what the money's paying for. Like, this is what we can buy with this. I was like, wow, I could do a whole lot better. And then last year, I decided to reach out to my local children's hospital and say, hey, I have a goal of $5,000. Which we got to 4,000. So I'm really proud because it was a pandemic year and who knew. But I had that in the works for a very long time. And I was like, I want to reach out to people. I want to do what you guys did. Like, I want a miracle kid. I want to talk to somebody. I want to have like an interview. So we had an interview with somebody who works the liaison between Children's Hospital Colorado and Extra Life, the one who knows how all of it works, the children's fund and all that stuff, because I had learned how it works over there with you guys, but it's a little bit different system here in Colorado. And so I was like, I want a personalized explanation, and I want to provide that. And so I had this huge plan, and then my internet died out on Saturday and cut the whole thing in half. Yep. And that was frustrating, but I kept on holding on to the very first year of being able to be like, hey, every dollar helps. Every drop raises the ocean. Your dollar or 50 cents or 25 bucks or 100 or in some cases 750, because why not? Like, that makes an impact, and you can find out what it does by clicking on these links, watching this video, to blah, 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 blah. But I love just being able to sit there and be the middle point between generosity and a benefit. And I was just kind of like the gate. I wasn't actually doing anything, but I opened up the gate and I was like, here, you can, oh, look at all the people who, oh, that's cool. Oh, they're hugging. All right, there they go. Bye. All right. Oh, there's another one. Come on in,
It actually feels phenomenal to know that we like helped to kind of give you ideas on what to do for the next year. Cause
a lot of 2020, actually 2020 was built off of, well, if Jordan and crew can do that, then I can do this.
Well, for
I spent
context,
planning it.
for context, Dylan and I were the only real two people that planned this whole thing out. We had just added Music Man, or Moises, as people would know him, through 2 months, I think.
Yeah.
Just a month. He would have been there just a month, and all I had him do was just manage social media. And it was, before that point, for a little company history, I started somewhat what Level Up for Charity was. It was more or less like under my YouTube stuff when I was first doing this. So there wasn't like a brand or an organization behind it, but it was like, I remember raising $160. This is now 8 years ago. And it was such a surreal feeling because I raised 160 and I was like, wow, I did really good. And I was like telling my parents, and they were like, we're proud of you. That's super cool. I got an email a week later that they were like, hey, we're putting together an event for those that have raised money through Extra Life, and it's a Mario Kart tournament, and you could come in and play. And I'm like a junior in high school or something, and it was on a weekend. I'd never been up to that city before ever. And I was like, you know what? Sure, let's try it out. So me and my friend who you met at that event, Austin, drove up there. It was an 1.5-hour drive. I was very nervous because I had not really traveled that long in a while. But more importantly, I was nervous because I was basically going somewhere that I had no idea. And I was very intimidated because it was a huge hospital and all of this stuff. But getting all the butterflies out of the way and everything, kind of the come to Jesus moment, the time that really told me that I wanted to do more with charity was when they came back and were like, hey, because of your guys' contributions this year, for attending this event, for being a part of all this stuff, you guys did the following things. And I remember it was, they supplied wheelchairs for the kids. They replenished a lot of that stock. There was a new program that was just installed recently there that helped to fund that. There was like 35 total grand among everything that had happened that it was in support of. And I was blown away that even my, what considered to be in that contribution, a minute amount, was the motivating factor to say, hey, maybe your money goes somewhere, and you're not just throwing cash at somebody. And I think that was a part that was like my realization. I'm really glad that I had it because, years later, I went to a Dave & Buster's because of a charity event where they thanked everybody that raised money, and then they kind of did the same thing. And then it kind of fell off for a few years. And then this year was the first year that the hospital reached out to us because we've been working with them for like 6 years. And they were like, hey, we'd like to work with you guys to put together a virtual event because you guys must know what you're doing because you've raised the money that you have. And I saw your event last year and we worked with you on your event last year. And I was like, yeah, I want to create that partnership. And so whenever I work with an organization, I send an email to somebody and I'm in direct contact with that organization. I'm like, all right, I want to tell you, kind of circling all the way back to the beginning of your video editing stories. I want to tell the story of why your organization should deserve the money that it's going to, and that this organization is helping those people that are suffering. We were going to do an event. We're going to do it again this year. A little bit of a leak. We'll be announcing things super soon, but we're doing one for American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I directly reached out to them. They were going to have somebody, this is pre-pandemic, by the way, they were going to have somebody drive down to the event to talk about what their program does. We were going to have a mental health professional talk a little bit about like how to deal with somebody that is experiencing suicidal thoughts and vice versa if you're experiencing it. I ended up still having that as a Level Up for Charity chat, which I was very happy about. But all this stuff, you know, just those things tell the story of why you should just give a minimum of a couple bucks to somebody that needs it. Like I have clothes on my back, I have food in my fridge, and I have a place that I can put a bed under. And to me, that's enough to say, hey, I'm pretty happy about that. And the rest can really kind of help those that live less proficient lives or experience things that are way worse, you know?
I was always really kind of in awe at your history and charity, and so that's why my 2020 Extra Life event was just so inspired by what you guys did, because I was like, yes, this is so cool. I look at what you guys have done. I'm just going to take a little slice of that pie and see how good I can recreate it. And like it was said in chat just moments ago, to having raised $4,000 in a pandemic when people are financially struggling as is massive. And considering too that like I don't do charity as like my all the time thing. It's not in my name like for you guys. Like you guys are built around it, and I am definitely a for-profit streamer.
Right.
And then I also every year say, okay, now's the time to pay it forward. Now's the time to give thanks for what we have and make an impact in the way that we know how, which is together. Because, you know, you may be able to give $5. Great, what does that do? But if everybody gave $5 who comes into my chat, we'd have 500 and or more. Right. And so they're like massive. That's massive. And so the idea, I think, of being part of a bigger thing helped people get into it. And so anyway, I pale in comparison to what you guys do. I don't nearly have the same history. I don't nearly have the same scope. I was asked actually this year to help raise money for Thankmas this year, and I was like, you know what, I'm really just going to focus on one thing, and that's going to be the Extra Life, because just the little tactical blinders on a horse. Be like, focus on the one thing in front of you, and see if you can't get that goal first. So we hit the goal of 4,000. I think that's really, really cool. So,
well, you know where to find us in case that you ever need a partner again. Heck, if you want to in 2021, I'm not going to say no, but we might have to talk about making sure that you're here before the day of the event so that you're not on a plane across the country, then starting the event, you're up for 13 hours, go to bed on a floor, get back up, then hang out for basically 2 hours after the stream. So we're up for 28 hours at that point for us. And we're just walking downtown. We go to a Panera. That was still hilarious to me. It's a great memory, but yeah, we'll make sure to make that better next time. But I don't know.
I remember how like sleep deprived I was. And then of course, like that last minute email, and I was like, is this real? I don't know what's happening. And you were like, Mish. And I'm like, huh. That's cool.
Yeah. We were like, all right, I was like, we'll head back to the car. We'll drive you back to the airport. And then my favorite part is that I was on call that day. That Sunday, because I was also on call because of my work, because that's how my world works. Annoying. And I remember after I dropped you off, and as I was coming back, I got a call for somebody that needed help, and I was like, you're kidding me. Dude, they really want to talk to 20, I think at that time, 9 hours alive Jordan, who had to drive 40 minutes back home. No, they didn't. So I moved him to, luckily there was a backup guy, but man, that was funny. But seriously, if you want to consider that this year, I don't know what the heck pandemic's gonna hold. So
And
like we're trying to legit, like transparency wise, we're trying to plan events to be online or offline, or well, in person at the same time. So like if we can do online, here's our things. If we can do offline, here's what they're gonna look like. Beginning of the year, we're gonna do a lot of online events, but end of year, we're gonna do. Yeah, we're doing 5 this year, by the way.
all the work you guys do. I will hop in for Extra Life stuff because
That's your thing.
I love your
100%.
And I'm happy to have found a thing that I now know a little bit more about as of last year,
Right.
and because of you guys, and also just because I got to talk to somebody who was like in the thick of it and can say,
Right.
your money's making a difference. And also hearing that like the money that we have raised, that I've raised for them in the past years, have helped them sustain treatment and care in a pandemic. Like,
Yep.
okay, say no more. We continue. We go.
There's like a 2-parter, like where part of it's like, because I know where that money goes and I can explain that to people, they'll be like, oh, this is where I'll donate then because I know where this goes. Telling people to just regularly donate can be not as effective. That's what we've learned. And somehow a chat that
there's like a lot of people in my chat who literally don't care or who have done their research before, and they've been on Twitch around like years now and around other channels that have raised money for Extra Life. So it's like they know it already. I don't need to sell it to them. And so a lot of times the beauty of me being super square brain is I could just be like, guys, we're raising the money for the thing. Do the thing. And then chat does the thing. And I'm like, I can't believe you did the thing. They're like, what? You said that we should do the Meesh. And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't know it would work.
I want to imagine someone should make the meme where it's like Meesh puts 25 or whatever amount of money, let's just say 5,000, puts $5,000 as a goal. Stream makes $5,000 for charity. Meesh surprise Pikachu face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's the goal.
Although I'm surprised at $1,000. Like, and again, like weirdly enough, last year I raised over $5,000, just not all for Extra Life. And that's because I was like, hey guys, we're gonna do this. It's for COVID research, and we're doing some Overwatch stuff, and like we'll just raise money for this. And it goes to this particular institute that's researching this particular kind of cure. And people are like, take my money. And I was like, wait, save for Extra Life. And they're like, I'm like, but we're trying to raise, like, I'm going to raise money for, Extra Life later. And they're like, no, this right now. So it's just like, you can't control the masses. They give to whatever they want. So,
right.
I just think it was really funny. Yeah.
Okay.
And also this year, well, the last bit is this past year, I had the most donations. Well over 100 different donations. So before we had raised lots of money and it was in fewer donations. And this year it was more people who were involved rather than the few like $1,000, $700, $500 donations that I've had in the past. This past year, it was like, I think the biggest one we had was 100. So.
Nothing wrong with that. This is the part where, before I get into what Chad had asked us, and that'll be kind of our last segment, I want to flip this to you for a second. As I kind of prepped you earlier, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask me before we get to that part?
Yeah. What's your favorite Pokemon?
Oh my goodness. This sucks because of how casual that I have become with Pokemon over the years, but like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of a Squirtle fan. The main reason is because I just want a sunglasses Squirtle. Like
Sunglasses.
I want that to be a poster in the bag, like in my wall someday. Just like, and it's like an inspirational quote. Like there's so much stupid detail that would be on it. It'd just be like something from like, it'd be like the Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott's quote on a Squirtle
sunglasses.
Thing. That's how I think it would go here. That's my choice personally, though. I'd go Squirtle.
Oh, fun! I love it.
What else you got?
Let me think.
And chat, this is a good time while she is thinking as a reminder that you can post at redemption, which is 100 points. So it's super easy. Just go ahead and ask a question here, and then we'll go ahead and get to them in momentarily.
Ask me anything.
AMA.
I'll do my best to answer.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jordan,
Yes.
your question is,
yes.
if you could partner with anyone to raise money for charity and for any charity, who would it be? Where would it go? What would you do? Literally anyone.
One person, just one.
Mm-hmm.
I would want to do something with Leonardo DiCaprio. He's very heavily invested into a lot of philanthropic contributions over his time. A lot of what he talks about on social media is about current and present issues that happen across the world. I think I would hit something that would be more to home, but if I had the opportunity to do everything, I'd probably go for the organization that's national or internationally recognized, that works with somebody like a WHO or somebody like that. Probably something with human trafficking. I wouldn't be able to quote the exact organization because I'd have to do my homework on who's kind of the better one of that.
Something new.
Yeah, because I don't think people realize at how crazy. I don't know if you know this or not, but Michigan is the state that, as of right 2020, actually 2019 stats, had the highest human trafficking rate out of every state. To understand that we beat out people like New York and Illinois is weird to think about. And I don't think people realize the kind of trauma and toil that people can experience when human trafficking happens. I mean, basically there's things as worse as people getting kidnapped and basically being sold as slaves for very nefarious negative purposes. It could be even minors in that situation. And I feel like under the wing of working with like a Leo DiCaprio, yeah, I'm kind of a gamer and kind of a nerd, but like to know somebody that I know is ingrained in that same concept and is investing into philanthropy like he is, I feel like that would be a cool option. Either that or Oprah, because Oprah would just get us way too much money for them, which means we would be able to solve the problem.
I would pick Keanu Reeves because same reason, but also he's a little bit more on the gamer side of the world. Like he's garnered enough respect that it would not tarnish. I would not tarnish his reputation, nor would he tarnish mine. You're welcome, Keanu. I'm waiting any minute now.
At Keanu Reeves. I think that'd be another really cool one too. I think that people that invest into their platform, like I'm honestly impressed with what Mr. Beast does on a basis. Like I saw his video where he posted like $400,000. He basically cleared 5 stores and was like, all right, we're going to go give that to a Salvation Army. We're going to go give that to the local coaches for their sports programs. And I'm like, you know, when people have the wealth for it and they just, you know, there's got to be a siphon that you just kind of redistribute it and help other people. Like that's such a cool feeling. But I don't know, maybe Mr. Beast would make more money than Leo DiCaprio. I don't know.
At this point, it is entirely up in the air. Who knows? So.
All right. I think we'll do one more if you have it. And if you don't, that's fine. We'll move on to the questions we've got for tonight.
I'm good. That's all. I was actually just curious about that last one. And now I know.
Now you know. All right. Leo. So we've got a couple. We'll start out with the most difficult one if you're such ready. Wow, such ready.
Am I so?
Call Strike asks, what is chicken cake?
Oh, chicken cake. Oh, we love chicken cake. Chicken cake. Yes, chicken cake. So you know, chicken.
Yeah.
You know, and you can have it breaded.
Yep.
That's kind of like the icing, and you could put it with like slices of bread on either side, like some buns and other layers in the cake, you know, and like 2 pickles, and that's a Chick-fil-A sandwich, and that is chicken cake. And also at the time there were lots of cakes that looked like other things, but that you cut into it, it's actually just cake. Chicken cake. It became It actually was a slip. Actually, no, Loki, Honorable Loki, who's in charge of the Twitch charter here in Colorado, and he runs the one up in Denver. He I had chicken for dinner and was now having some Fraser cake, which is strawberry cake, and it's really, really delicious. So every time someone says chicken cake, I think of strawberry cake and then like chicken nuggets right next to it. Because I was eating chicken nuggets and strawberry cake, and he was like, "What did you have for dinner?" And I was like, "Chicken and cake." And he was like, "Oh man, I want some chicken cake." But he meant to say "and," but he forgot to say it. And so we were like, "You want chicken cake? What even is chicken cake?" So that's how it came about. You get the backstory, but it's a true chicken cake is a Chick-fil-A sandwich because it's got the layers and the gloriousness, and it's so full of sugar, and we love it. And or it's a cake that straight up just looks like a rotisserie chicken cake.
There you
Not
go.
sure if I'd like.
Try it at your local cheesecake factory. Archer asked Meesh if you had to pick one of us, who would it be, Call or Archer?
I can't pick between you two.
All right, cool. We won't pressure you anymore, so don't worry. That's fine. You don't have to pick any of them, but I'll pick for you, Call. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
We'll choose Archer. No, Call. Archer. Yeah, we'll do Call. All right.
It's Archer.
Anyway, follow the channel. We hope to see you here more. Neva74, what is something you really like to you would really like to try out on stream but haven't quite decided to go through with?
You know, I have a few things that I have small plans for that just haven't happened quite yet. And then some bigger things that I don't know if it'll ever happen, like doing VR streams. I heard it's a little bit harder to interact with chat with a VR headset on, and so I don't really want to put another barrier. Like after the whole piano debacle, I mean, I don't want to put another barrier between me and chat. But I've always liked the idea of streaming a Taekwondo class. Sure. Kind of like full body cam, being like, here's all of our Taekwondo stuff. And I've done a few things like.
Well, remember you trained us during that FTK event, and now I'm probably through the first lesson of the first day by this point. So
at this point, well done. You practiced all of 2 minutes.
There you go.
Yeah. So I don't know if that is like there are some other things too that I'm like, oh, I wish I could stream this, but it just takes a little bit of moving around and like setting up a camera properly, and I could totally do it. And so it may or may not be spoilers to mention it now because I will save that for later. So, but some things that I'm like, not sure if I'd be brave enough to do and or don't have the equipment to do is like a full room stream in the main room downstairs, and or a VR headset stuff because I don't have a VR set. So,
all right. Rumpton asks, where did you get that screen behind you? It looks awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is my little screen divider that I got when I bought the house. I was like, I really need to separate my streaming space from my sleeping space. And so to have a physical separation is really nice. And then it also really looks nice when I'm streaming too. I still have my wall behind me.
You remind me so much of Saikuno with that background.
Archer
people have said that before, but it's mainly just because it's just the design of having that in the background. But yeah,
funny enough, I wanted this one before he even got famous. So
there you go.
But I too watched a bunch of Saikuno streams, and I was like, hey, he's got a little divider behind him. Huh. Well, I'm gonna get a decorated one, and
there you go. Boom.
It's gonna be more me, and I'm gonna sometimes have it behind me and sometimes not. And it's actually really nice because I can do work calls in front of this, and then I'm not like showing off my messy room and like all the stuff on the floor and my unmade bed, but chat can still yell at me for not making my bed. So.
We got one from Dylan. Said, Meesh, first off, hi. Secondly, what's the secret to your power of positivity? We kind of touched on this already, but I don't know if there's anything you want to expand on that.
Sure. Well, first of all, hi. I love you. Second of all, there is power in positivity, and I think I touched a little bit on the downsides of forced positivity and how it can make a lot of people feel unwelcome. I'd much rather people be themselves, and I think what's great about that and focusing on that rather than just focusing on the positive is that I have bad days and I have good days, and I'm honest about it. And then when I have those good days right after bad days, boy, are they good. And people can really tell. The goal is not to be positive. The goal is to be genuine. And sometimes in that genuineness is you know what, today sucks, but I'm going to smile anyway. And there is a fine line between that and being toxic positive, right? Because you force people to be positive along with you, and that's kind of lame. But recently I've been like, you know what, how about we just kind of all have an exercise in gratitude, because that can help us think of positive things. And then as you're trying to think of positive things to tell me, you're going to be in a better mood because you've thought of the good things. And it can't be well, I'm happy that my brother no longer punches me. No, because you're making the point that your brother punches you. You're not actually thinking alongside the right terms of positivity. So
right.
I've had conversations with chat about that. I've had a lot of recent bad days, and I've just had to be honest about it. And I usually don't stream on those days, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm like, I'm feeling sick today, or not this past year, but like I'm, not having a good time, and just straight up not having a good time. And other people who are straight up not having a good time can come in and we can all commiserate together. I don't like doing that a whole lot because it can just breed more discontent. But it is nice to be real with people, because then they see that and they go, oh yeah, she's not just a smiling plaster mask all the time. So the secret to the power of my positivity is to be real, because then the positivity is actually powerful.
Great answer. All right. Now, Meesh, this is from Rumpton. Again, how are your prospects for 2021?
What does that even mean?
I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I just assumed you would have known.
I think that question came up while I was talking about my career and whatnot. And if that's the case, I am still hoping to work for Young Life for the foreseeable future. I have a future there, and I have a good career there. As far as streaming goes, I also want to continue streaming as long as I can. There's no better joy than to connect with people around the world. It's like my little window into the world, and I don't have to buy a plane ticket. It's really cool. And then other people can experience that too, through me, but just to other people. And so I absolutely love it. And I'm really hoping to expand the community and to have room in my brain for more names. It's hard to keep up with that many names, when you get after an 8-hour stream and you've had 100 people stop by, and you're like, I can't remember how many of them have dogs and what their dogs' names are, and if they've got a brother, or if they have a twin brother, or if I can only keep that kind of amount of detail for like 3 people, because square brain. But I'm hoping to kind of get better about remembering people and where I met them, like Jordan. how we met, and just up until now I've been like just so happy that we know each other, but now it's like, no, it would be nice to remember how we met. I gotta try to remember that. 2021, maybe remember 3 more people's actual information, not like phone number and social security kind of information, but we're like
oh, I know those already. No, I'm kidding.
What they do for a job, if they're still in school, things about them that they've shared with me, because it's hard to remember those things. And streamer brain, man, just gets to you. You're just
streamer brain. Can't argue that.
You just said a thing. I just said a thing. I don't even remember what I said.
All right. in the intent to not have a 4-hour chat, we'll probably finish off with a couple of quick fires here.
I haven't even been here for 4 hours. What are you talking about?
You've been here for 2.
Yes, this isn't even my final form.
All right, fine. We'll go for 4 more hours then. Let's do it. Listen, we had a 7.5-hour stream last night because of dub stuff. If I can stay up till 4 a.m. there, I'll stay up till 4 a.m. again. I'm just kidding. Please don't do that to me.
We'll try to make this quick. I'm sorry. I know it's late for you.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. This has been a healthy and fun experience. Okay. If you could pick one scene to get someone into an anime, which would it be?
Sorry, what?
Call Strike asks, if you could pick one scene to get someone into an anime, which would it be? This is from Call Strike, so if you need to skip it, it's understandable.
Oh, what did you mean by that? To get someone who doesn't like anime to watch an anime.
Yeah.
The very, very first episode of Assassination Classroom is probably the most mind-bending thing ever. And if someone hasn't seen the show, I'd recommend that. To get into
link it
anime.
to me. Let's do a social experiment. Let's see if I watch the show after seeing this. I've never heard of that.
Really?
Correct.
Jordan, have you heard of this show called Assassination Classroom? You should totally watch it.
All right, I will. Just show me the introduction scene and we'll see if your social experiment works.
He's so good. I wish I could explain it without spoiling anything, but it's like the first episode is just like, okay. Huh?
Okay.
What?
Okay.
Wait, what? But to get someone into an anime, I would probably, I don't know. This is like, it's hard to pick a scene because you'd have to like have the whole build up.
Gotcha. That's understandable. I mean, it's hard to just flat out
straight up IQ. It's like that people like sports ball.
Sports ball.
Watch the sports ball anime. It's good.
Sports ball.
Even if you don't know the sports ball, you can watch it.
So we need Bob the Builder expensive cameo. No. Okay. Let's see. We kind of already answered Archer's question. Other than Extra Life, what charity streams do you have planned this year? I think you said you were just doing Extra Life this year, or did you have anything else planned?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, for last year, I had only planned Extra Life, and then people reached out to me for the Landfest one and were like, hey, and I was like, well, I didn't plan for a pandemic at the beginning of the year, so why not? And so I'm always up for that last minute.
Oh, yeah, did I tell you? Oh, that's funny. I forgot that I donated to that, right? And so months later, I got
you got a random package.
Apparently my address was to my parents' house. So my mom texted me and was like, you got a package here. And I'm like, what the heck? I didn't order anything from Amazon or anything. So I'm like, yeah, you got my permission to open it. What's in it? And she's like taking pictures, and it's like a medallion and pins and a letter of thanks from Landfest. And I'm like, what the heck is Oh, you ever just donate to things, you forget about them until you do tax season? That's me.
Yeah. Yeah. And because we raised the most money from that, I got shipped a massive package with a keyboard and a mouse and a mouse pad and just like all sorts of peripherals. And I was like, oh, cool. I got the headset because she needed one. So
nice.
It was good. It was good. Oh, and then I gave there was a keyboard I had to give to one of the other girls who set up a team to also raise money. So she'd raised the second most amount of money. And I said, hey, do you want a keyboard? I'll just give them your address. And she's like, my mom could use one. And so it went to her mom, and her mom has been like this gamer keyboard and absolutely loves it. Feels good, man.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm not against last minute adding additions of fundraising. I just don't have anything planned. And also, after planning a whole lot for 2020, this year I'm literally just gonna be like, guys, we're raising money, do the things. No incentives. Hard mode. No, right. we'll get it. I just haven't figured it out yet. So
this one's an easy one. Is it yes or no? Did Meesh make her bed?
half yes.
There you go. And we'll finish off with call strikes here. And that should do it for this. What do you do to de-stress?
There a lot of times, especially recently, I've really enjoyed just sitting down watching anime and knitting. Um, as long as I don't have anything on the horizon immediately due the next day, a few hours, I can relax really well with that. It's something that I enjoy. And I'm like, oh, I've got some time. I'm just gonna curl up in my blanket, do my knitting, and have terrible posture, and not have to worry about people watching me. And I just kind of chill and knit and watch anime or some YouTube shows or something like that. Otherwise, especially since I've been in this house now for like 3-4 months, 3.5 months, sometimes I'll just go downstairs and lay on the carpet and be like, oh, look at this cool house I have.
Yeah.
Look at how cool this is, so nice. Oh. And now I have a couch. I just got a couch today.
The
and
best
I've
feeling
been like,
ever. I don't mean to brag. In my apartment, I got a recliner recently. And let me tell you, when you get furniture at your own place, it is like a happiness that you'll never feel. Like I got a bed frame and I was like on cloud 9. It was adult
the
things.
The couch high is gonna last a while.
Oh yeah, 100%. I fell asleep on that couch so many times because I was so happy I got it. It was funny.
I'm so excited to just go and sit on it later. Like I don't even know if I'll sit on it today, but even tomorrow, I'm just gonna wake up, be like, I'm gonna go get some tea and go sit on my little armchair because I have a matching armchair for the couch. So I'm just gonna sit there and be like, this is nice. It's such a but I also streaming is de-stress. It's a little stress sometimes just because I have goals now, so I'm not just like whatever. And gaming is also a little de-stress, but depending on what I play. If I'm playing Baba as you, I'm just like,
well, we're about to play tabletop poker after this, so
there you go.
That'll be fun. Meesh, it's been a pleasure. I'm glad we got a chance to sit down and chat for a bit. If you guys don't know already, this will be posted up to YouTube here not too long afterward. Most likely this weekend, I'll be putting this one together here. Little bit of a promo coming up for the following weeks here. We've got a lot of really, really cool people coming up. Meesh, of course, is an absolutely wonderful individual. And is there anything that you'd like to promote here before we say our goodbyes and depart in peace?
My Twitter is full of really bad takes and pictures of my house, so follow me there, and definitely give my channel on Twitch a look if you haven't followed me yet. I don't want you to follow and never watch. Only follow if you think you will. And I have an Instagram that I'm trying to remember to post to. So, but yeah, don't follow me there yet because it's not quite.
It's getting there.
That's the last thing. I make hats. Head socks, and I knit them on commission, and I also do the same for scarves and fingerless gloves and leg warmers. And so if you're like, man, I want one of those, hit me up. We'll talk about it. I do reasonable pricing, and I have no current projects, so help. Make me busy.
Send your requests in. Yeah, I highly recommend. We've seen one physically in person before too, so highly recommend. All right.
We've seen one.
Meesh, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for your time tonight. It was good to catch up and also learn about a lot of fun things here tonight. So for everybody else that's here for chats, thanks so much for tuning in. For those on stream, you'll see more. Otherwise, this will be it for the YouTube video. Thanks, everybody. Take it easy. Meesh, you have a great rest of your night.
You as well. Thanks. Bye.